if you can't stand with the woman, zip it. Stay quiet. Why them feel so them have to come out and say something derogatory, insulting against them? They realize, what? Why do they have to? Why do they feel they have to go that extra mile? Give me an understanding around the mindset of that one, if you can, please.
There's some weak-willed men out there that literally are men by the term, and they don't have, especially nowadays, a lot of the younger men, not to cast aspersions on all of them, but they're more emotional than logical. And they don't have that tenacity to stand up in rain, winter, or shine, or even stand before a woman nowadays and say, I'm going to protect you against everything. That unfortunately is being bred out of men.
I was asking Brother Jammers if he'd come across any of the posts from our beloved sister, Elaine the Pain, she calls herself. She's a sister who's calling for a boycott of Asian stores who, as you know, profit considerably off of our community. And because she's called for this boycott, which is really just an effort for us, in an attempt for us to recirculate the pound more within our own community, and to be a bit more conscious about the fact that, when we spend outside of our community, we're depriving our community of that much needed financial resource that we need. And so, she's bringing awareness to all of this. And, obviously you would expect her to get a lot of criticism from the Asian world because, they are losing their customers, aren't they? But you wouldn't expect, which is what I was hearing today from a post that she had done, that she would be getting so much backlash from Black men. So I'm going to ask each of you, starting with Jammers, why is it, do you think, that so many of our Black men are giving our sister Elaine so much criticism and such a difficult time about this campaign and initiatives that she's launching, rather than standing with her and supporting her? Brother Jammers, please take yourself off mute and give me an idea what this could all be about.
The real deal about all of this is that there's an element of cowardice amongst the Black men. They're full of talk, but when it comes to real action, especially, we can shoot and kill each other easily, rob from each other, but when it comes to the real enemy, I'm sorry to say this, but there's an element of cowardice in it, because this is pure financial sense, survival sense. If you look at Amos Wilson, Black Power, and if you look at how other communities work, it's all about coming together and putting out finances together. So if the Empress has made a statement like this, which really there should be support. So anybody who's not supporting it from our perspective is a coward. Boom.
Cowardice is wow. What percentage of our men today would you estimate, from your opinion, Brother Jammers, actually have that element of cowardice? How bad is it? You're still on mute. He's on mute.
You really want to end my career here, but
no, not at all. It's interesting that you say that. So it's said, man, them afraid like puss. Some of them afraid like puss. Them rather criticize rather than stand with the sister. Achoo.
Well, I'm talking, and as well, I'm talking from practical experience. I went to go on a march against the government. I rang up certain men who I thought would in support, and all of them made excuses. So I went on the march. I was so fed up, I went down on the march myself. And when I came out of that, it was the sisters who were supporting me. So the real deal is, we like to talk, but it's the sisters who've got the real power. And I think what would actually make the men do certain things is if the sisters are standing in front of us, then we would come out in force, But this is it. This is the scenario. I'm talking from practical experience.
Wow, wow. If the sisters are standing up in front, the man then will come behind. But that's not what our sister Elaine is experiencing. She's finding that our man them, brother Edison, are the ones
Yeah.
who are criticizing her, tearing her down. They're posting posts, standing with the Asians. As we know, the Asians have been making a mockery out of our culture. They pirate, everything, black and Caribbean and cultural. They love our culture and at the same time, profit so much off of us. You would think that they would want to share some of the profits with us rather than condemn, our sister for suggesting that we circulate our money within our community a bit more. And then to have our men not stand with us, but openly come out and tear a sister down for standing up. Brother Edison, where do you think the problem is with my brother?
I would love to think that the majority of us wouldn't actually do that. That there'll be a few that want to get, can we all just get along? Characters that will come up and try their best to say, I don't want to offend anyone. I want to be in a position where everybody loves me, but I don't love myself. Because unless you're directly profiting from the Asian community, then why would you stand up for them against your own? And the concept of circulating your money within your environment. So what they say the Jewish do, that their money circulates how many times? 27 times before it comes out of their community, whereas ours is one or twice, and we're doing that. But unfortunately, it is engineered self-hate, where your women have to move forward before exactly what Jammer said. If the women were being attacked, then we would step forward. Some of us, but some of us still are carrying this whole colonial mentality of everyone is everyone, we're all together, which is what everyone promotes to us. We're all together as long as it comes to business, then we're by ourselves.
Wow. So, Brother Edison, do you think it is then that a lot of our men have actually bought into this kumbaya equality, we're all the same? Why, and if that is the case, Brother Jammers, why is it then that our men have bought into this kumbaya song, we're all the same, we shouldn't be, putting our own race first when clearly all other races do it? Well, why is it that our men seem to think that, we should all just hold hands and sing together and go along to get along. And not realizing that none of the other races are doing it. They're all supporting their own.
You see, the black women have always stood up. The black women have always stood up for the community. And whenever there's a march or any sort of demonstration or any sort of critique of someone, the women are going to stand up first. The men, we've had to adopt. Yeah, we've had to change and lose our identity to fit into the community of the work environment. So we've had to learn. Many of us, how do you say, code switch so quickly, you wouldn't recognize some of us if you heard us on the phone. Whereas women do not code switch as such. And if they dislike a situation, they will stand up and say, I'm not standing for this, and leave. Where the man, for his fears of containing his family, he will stay in places he doesn't belong, because that's the best way he can help his situation or help his family situation. Many of us don't want to go to work and work in environments where we have to tone our voice, we have to behave in a way, otherwise we're the first ones out of the door. And we've lived in that mentality for such a long time, where we are chameleons. We'll fit into any environment and communicate in whatever way we have to, as long as we can stay and bring home the bacon. So that's unfortunately many of our mindsets. It's not good, but it's not bad, because at the same time, if we had the capacity to fight for everything and couldn't earn a crust, there's the saying where a broke woman or a woman without money is still respected more than a man without money. And he knows he can provide.
So,
if it's a broke man, nobody has no interest in, they'll tell him, look, you're fighting for everyone, but not for your family. Settle down and go through it. But if a woman has no money because she's losing jobs and things like that, still is for a man to come and save her in that moment. So we've got a totally different mentality when it goes into those situations. No one wants a broke man.
I can understand the man feeling that, he doesn't want to rock the boat and he wants to, fit in and so that he can bring home the bacon. But, to lose his identity and feel that he has to disrespect his woman, I don't know about that. What do you say to that, Brother Jammers? I'm coming back.
Well, there's been a scientific and surgical removal of especially the black man's free will and his spirit. The ability to be a self-determinating being has been scientifically and surgically removed from the essence of the black man. We are one of the species of animal that doesn't self-perpetuate or self-determine ourselves. So this has been, once again, a scientific, psychological removal of the black man's free spirit and free will. When you really look at the essence of the whole of the system, once again, syst is an inward growth. Stem means to stop, as you stem the flow of water. So a system is designed to stem your inward growth. The whole essence of the being that is in control is the reason why they're in control is because everything that they value is important. They've had to import it from somewhere else. So they have a system to stop the people who they've imported. That's why they call it important. The people who they've imported it from getting it back. All war, which is WAR, is fought, when reversed, is fought against raw, RAW. So all war is waged for raw materials. When they look at something, they call it an object. When you object to something, that means you dislike it. And ob means against, as in the word obstacle. Ject means force. So basically, everything they look at, they use a force against it. Why did they use a force against it? Because everything they look at, they observe it. What's observed? Ob, once again, means to stop, as in the word obstacle. Serve. So they want everybody to serve them, but they're against serving anybody. That's why they observe anything. Observe is not a word, it's a verb, it's a doing word. It means you against serving. Object, again, is another doing word. I do not like what I am seeing. So I have developed a system to stop the people who I'm warring against for their raw material to get it back. That's why I say our free will and our spirit has been surgically removed by the system.
Powerful, Brother Jammers. Our men are the object of a system which is coming with a force against them, and they feel this force. And for some, rather than stand up and fight, that cowardism comes in, where they feel that they have to stand with the system rather than standing with their own women. So that's the individual.
Yeah.
Brother Edison, let's look at it from a collective perspective now. You have the individual in the workplace who may feel that he needs to toe the line. But if we look across our community as a collective, we are so powerful. If our men were to come together, they wouldn't need to work for anybody else. They could create their own jobs, could they not? They could become all powerful and almighty all by themselves, could they not?
I think the younger generation are going to prove that to be right, because they realize that there's nothing going to be given to them for free. But back in the day, slightly older generations were aware that their way of doing things, we would want to come together, and we would know that as soon as, I remember being in the Nation of Islam, and I always used to remember them explaining that their bills would be higher than anyone else. There would always be a concerted effort to make it so difficult for the black man to generate any business that he would always have to be paying twice as much for half as much. And the mindset to do that and to keep going, which is what everyone expects of him, no one gives him credit for doing that anymore. We're living in an environment where if you don't provide results, no one has no patience for you. And he's got to find a way in which because remember, he's been psychologically degenerated all of his life. The system has been built, as Jammers said, to consciously give him a fear to stand up against anyone that is coming at him. He knows if he's in a work environment, he's going to be the first one to go, even if he's correct. Because they're going to look at him and say, look, you're trouble. We shouldn't have got you here in the first place. We were doing it not to appear racist. So we're going to have you go out first. So he's worked out through his work career, being himself doesn't profit him. Yeah, and in a situation, even with these women, because those women may say, walk away from the job today, and then tomorrow, how comes you haven't got another job? And everyone switches based on what emotions that they're facing at the same time at the moment. So if it was consistent along the board to say, yes, you can leave your job, I will support you, he would fight every cause. But he knows today someone could tell him, leave your job, go and do that, and then tomorrow be complaining that there's no money. So he's learned I've got to make what I have to do to survive. And sometimes taking the emotional route is not going to land me in the route to success and how we're going to actually be able to provide what we need. So that's the counterbalance he's fighting. And there's also a situation where if it's an emotional thing, which is perfectly understandable, the practical long term of doing that, he has to see a system where he says, well, that's going to benefit us. Because if the infrastructure of buying from black isn't there, then what do you do? Yeah, there's only so much you can buy, so much you can do. The system doesn't exist that allows you to switch from one to another. I don't believe in standing with the Asians against your women. That's absolutely incorrect. You've got to defend your woman in every circumstance in that way, because if you don't, other people will take advantage of her, which will eventually impact you. But I can see a load of men not pushing themselves because the fear of repercussion, even if it's not logical, they've still been built with that whenever they're introduced into any situation.
I can understand that to some extent, beloved. And so, I can understand why men may kind of toe the line within the workplace and, want to code switch, want to maybe try and lose their identity a bit or what have you. I can understand that within the workplace to try and hold down their job because, white people do that all the time. You've got white people who go to work every day and absolutely hate it. And then one day they'll jump off the top floor of a building and kill themselves. You know what I mean? Because they have been so stressed and depressed at work. So I know the workplace can be a very intimidating environment. And because, a lot of people rely on that income to pay their mortgage, they kind of feel as though they're strung up by the short and curlies, don't they?
That's
so
right.
I can understand that. But, if you can't stand with the woman, zip it. Stay quiet. Why them feel so them have to come out and say something derogatory, insulting against? Don't they realize, why do they feel they have to go that extra mile? Give me an understanding around the mindset of that one, if you can, please.
There's some weak-willed men out there that literally are men by the term, and they don't have, especially nowadays, a lot of the younger men, not to cast aspersions on all of them, but they're more emotional than logical. And they don't have that tenacity to stand up in rain, winter, or shine, or even stand before a woman nowadays and say, I'm going to protect you against everything. That unfortunately is being bred out of men. And with the modern situation that we're going through, where there's more young men that are being brought up by mothers by themselves, that's going to even become even more prevalent because they would have grown up in homes where the lead parent may have been emotional or distant, trying to find a way to find that balance to bring up that young man. Where the women are trying to play two roles and they can't play two roles well.
And again, that's because the man isn't standing in his rightful place as the man of the house, as the father of the house, as the breadwinner, as the grandfather, as the backbone. Woo!
It's tough. It's tough because remember when there was that we're living in the generation of where mothers were given places when they didn't have their men around.
Yes, yes.
And if the
Yeah,
man
that's
was
my
there for more
generation.
than 3 days, she would lose the place. It was always ironic. You had enough money to pay for the rent and everything, but when a man was there, all of a sudden you didn't have enough money. So the young men had to go out, do what they needed to do. But the problem is, if they couldn't create their own, they had to work with someone. So they were in a position where someone could see them. I know with my African name, if I brought it certain places on a CV, oh no, you're not good enough. Your name's not the right kind of name.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to given a lesser position than the qualification of what you can do. So some of us are coming out of that generation where we're now we had to become more adaptable if we wanted to survive in any environment. Yeah,
Wow,
so
wow,
it's
wow.
gonna get worse.
Okay.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better, I'm afraid. It's gonna get worse
Right,
before it
I
gets
hear you,
better.
and also you talked about these boys that become men being brought up in households where the women are the head of the household. So it's like, what can we do to put that backbone, in that boy that's going to become a man, so that he can be the man that he needs to be, in the home, in the community, in the workplace, as he struts the street. My generation, our men used to walk with a bounce. Ooh,
That's
them
right.
walk a bounce, son, with them head hold high. But we've gone from that to our boys hanging their head low and their trousers round their ankles and wanting to,
Yeah.
just please everybody and almost disappear within the system without being seen or heard.
Oh, our sisters out there are so much stronger than our men right now. And you can see in interactions between men and women, it has been so organized that if a man stands up and even just states his case, there'll be 10 behind telling him of all he is and how he is and how he shouldn't, cause any problems. And, the women are, in many cases, much more ready to be aggressive than the men are. The men can't say
Wow.
those things like they
Wow.
used to. Back in the day, the
Wow,
man could
wow, wow.
speak in that way,
That,
but right now, it's just not the case. We know why, and we understand why. Um, but the thing is, it's how do you say, how can someone listen when they're already angry or they're in a state where their body is feeling annoyed of all the things they have to travel through and all they have to do? The sisters of this world really have a lot on their plate. And we ask them to be calm and relaxed in that situation. It's like saying, I'm going to put you in the frying pan, but you shouldn't scream. It's not possible. And literally, as such, they're fed up of that scenario. They come into the men, and the men are just not strong enough to handle the new type of energy that is around at the moment. Yeah. So our men are running away. They're running here, they're running there because they can't contain and hold the conversations that they're actually holding with their sisters.
wow. We grew up with music like "Get Up, Stand Up, Stand Up for Your Right," and we really felt that we needed to stand up for our rights, and we need to bring back those revolutionary songs and somehow get to the spirit. They've broken the spirit, I feel, of a lot of my men. This is what I'm hearing. But what do you think? Those of you in the chat, welcome, welcome. We're just having a bit of a conversation here. By way of opening. Some of you may well have seen the post and heard the campaign that's been called for by our sister, Elaine the Pain. And it's caused a lot of controversy because she's asking our members of our community to buy black and put our money back in our community. The Asians feel offended that we're suggesting that we should buy black as opposed to Asian. And, I was asking, why is it that some of our men have decided that they're going to try and tear down the sister, for what she's proposing rather than standing with her or keeping quiet? We heard from Brother Jammers and we've heard from Brother Edison about what their views are. I'd like to know some of your comments as well in the chat. So as you come through the door, please give us a thumbs up. It's great to have you in the house. Give us a like and drop your comments in the comment section. And in a very short while, we're going to be going over to the main topic of conversation, and Jammers will be rejoining us very soon too. So Zed Charles, welcome. You're saying awesomeness. Great to have you in the house. Loretta, great to have you in the house, saying greetings, family. UKK, chant down Babylon. Yeah, man, chant down Babylon. That we can do. We got Quiet Storm in the house as well, wishing it a good afternoon. So wherever Quiet Storm is, it's afternoon right now. Rise up, rise up. And we've got Betty in the house as well. Great to have you in the house, saying Grand Rising Sister Shanice, joining us from London, UK. And rising up the entire family. Yeah, we've got the Kashiba in the house as well, greeting us from Maryland. Good to have you in the house. You said had a hard time finding your show. The algorithm did not work. They ain't stopping, are they, sis? I tell you, they're always they're getting rid of my subscribers. They don't alert my subscribers when I go live. Now people are finding it difficult to find me, even when they are searching for my show. But thank you so much for your perseverance and for finding me. We got Karen in the house. Welcome. Good to have you in the house. She's welcoming us and the speakers, welcoming all of the kings and queens, and reminding us that we are be first, black first for life. Shay. Doravel's in the house as well, saying be first, brilliant first as well. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And saying the system, yeah, with a CYSTEM. Yes, that kind of system. Yes, and they can be a play on time as well. And Jammers is getting some rising up. Jammers, one with the book, bro. So, Brother Jammers, when you come back, you've got to let the family know what the timescale is for the book. And Kashiba's saying, same problem here in the USA. We need a new system and a different mindset. This has been going on for the last 2,000 years. We keep falling into the same trap. We hear you on that. Rise up, Watchman, watching the Hawks. Good to have you in the house as well. And Dorovel saying they don't respect the origin story. So true. You can't get a fish to train a cat. True. And Kate Sapphire is saying, Shanice, would it be funny if you were in a commercial with that stern voice telling the man them that they need to be what? The man they need to be in it. Big up yourself, man them. Be the man you're supposed to be. Yeah? Hold up your head high. Hold up your pants and walk on bones. Yeah, man. Yes, let's rise up and big up our man them. Women, let's big up our man them so much that them feel big boat here. Yeah, the system tears them down. We've got to do what we can to build them up. We got Queen Mother in the house as well, sending us blessings from Johannesburg in South Africa. Yes, we got South Africa in the house. Rise up, rise up. Great to have you in the house. Kate Safer, I wish my dad was around when I was an adolescent. I had to learn to be a man through trial and error. And yeah, that's another thing, Brother Edison, as you're saying, if you don't have the man in the house, not only have you got the woman trying to, make the man out of the boy or make the boy to become a man, but they don't have a man to model themselves on. And so not having that brave black man in the house has really damaged our community. And you touched on that, how the system deliberately came up with policies so that we would push our men out the house because it would be more financially beneficial for the system to pay all of our bills and provide us with a house than be struggling with a man. But it wasn't the case at all. It's just devastated the black family. So we really need to come together and struggle together to make it. But do the man them want to struggle these days? Them don't want to struggle. They want easy life. I hear some man say, yeah, that's why we go with the other. That's why we race hop because life too hard with the black woman. Well, when you race hop now, life easier. Are true?
Wow.
You haven't heard
Yeah.
that?
It's the same wherever you go. The grass is the same. The problem that they have is, I love seeing when I see what do you say, young white women skipping. And I try and remember the last time I saw a black woman skipping just for the fun of it. Her life is not that kind of life where I could sit there and just feel idly get a bubble on. No, we have a paradigm where the woman has come through too much and she's seen too much. And she's had to go through watching her brothers, watching her father, watching her partners struggle in the system out there. And she wants to fight as hard as she can. But the man realizes, no, you're not built for that kind of fight. Or they used to recognize she's not built for that kind of fight. Her nervous system can't handle that level of, how do you say, level of unfairness without it being able to stay calm and relaxed in that. She'll see the injustice and need to say something. Whereas the man has to realize if I cry at every moment, no one will take me seriously. I can't afford to do that. So he has to stand stoic in bad times because his nervous system is built to handle that and still carry on going forward. Yeah,
Wow.
the worst thing as well for the young black man now as well, or men in the situation where they got women to go out to work. Their mothers used to be their used to be the one who calmed them down. A young boy would go to his mother would hug him. She wouldn't, chastise him as such, but put him in a position where he could release his pain into her. But
Mhm.
nowadays, no one's got time. If the guy is het up, he's angry, where can he release it? He can't
Mhm.
go to his mum like he used to. She'll provide for him, she'll help him, but she can't help to calm him down. And so he's walking around with that anger and he's got nowhere to release it unless doing something he shouldn't, or it's drink, or it's drugs, or it's playing games. So there's a whole psychological paradigm that there's poison in the community on both sides. And as such, no one's recognizing the poison. No one's finding a way to offsuit. The women will blame the men will blame the women, everyone's blaming each other, and no one's actually finding a solution because they're going to turn around and say, well, the men, you should work something out. And the men will say, oh, the women, you should be a certain way so that we want to work it out. And as long as they can keep them two arguments coming together, we're going to fight with each other and be in a position where we're always saying, waiting for the other person to change before we change.
Mm-mm. Wow, family, drop your comments in the chat. Want to hear from you. Just a few more rise ups, then we're going to go into the topic of conversation today. Rise up, Nam. We got Nam in the house saying he can't let them stop with sis. True talk. We got Shannon tuning in from the Gambia. Rise up, Sister Shannon. We got Karen tuning in from USA saying these blacks be looking at themselves. Start the teaching at a young age. All right, we've got to start with the young man then. Yeah, and Karen goes on to say that elder black men gather around and teach the black youths. Yeah, because, our young men, when they're young, they're fearless. I hear what you say about the men, but our young people are fearless. They're ready for burn down Babylon, them see right from wrong. And, somehow we've got to harness that energy in a way that it's going to, be for the betterment of our people.
The irony is the young men see force used to control them, and then they're told not to exert force to fight back. The people in control are in control because they've used force via the police, force by courts, force by what have you, to maintain their control. And there's an unfairness there. But we want the young boys to be quiet, just do the right thing, and go through that same conditioning that we're suffering from now. We're saying that the young men are weak, but they don't want to be weak. They want to fight.
They don't want to be weak. We tell them, the elders are saying, you get stopped, comply. Don't say anything. Keep your voice down, your head down. What? And when they just want to headbutt the bloke, do you know what I
Which is
mean? It's like,
natural,
who
which
are
is
you?
natural, which
Who
is
are
natural.
you? Yeah, what you pulling me up for? You know, I done nothing wrong. And then they want to come and bad up the boy, them, you know, our young men them for no reason at all and throw them down on ground and jump on them and do whatever, all sorts of manner of things. And our boys are supposed to accept that. And then the man them are saying, yeah, I saw it go, you got to accept it. It's like soul destroying, isn't it?
That's the whole aim. The aim is to destroy the soul of the young man. What do they say? Kill it before it grows. Before it
Mm,
grows into an adult. One of the things they make sure that they didn't teach the black community is how to fight for
yeah.
themselves.
So
Yeah,
we
they
got,
didn't
that's what
teach
we
them
got
how
to
to
do.
walk
We
or
need that
militate.
fighting spirit. You've touched on it there. That's what it is. We need to get back that fighting spirit, you know, in our young people through whatever, you know, games, sports, whatever it might be. You know, we need our young people to have that fighting spirit so that when they become a man, they still have that fighting spirit, you know.
100%.
And it
100%.
just reminds me, we want to send our condolences out to Jamil, who passed away in prison. Jamil, what's his
So
surname,
I'm not
family in the
familiar
chat?
with it.
Yeah, he was a revolutionary freedom fighter back in the
Hmm.
60s and 70s. And he was arrested and accused of murdering a sheriff and attempted murdering a deputy sheriff. But he was innocent. They knew he was innocent, but because, you know, the COINTELPRO was focused on him and wanted to bring him down anyway, they colluded with each other, the court system and everybody else, to bring those charges against him, which they found him guilty for, and kept him locked up in prison from for about the last 20 plus years. I'll find the case and
Yeah.
I'll come back on that. But
Hmm.
yeah, he died in prison, you know, 80 plus. They never
Wow.
let him out. This is what they do to powerful black men. But then I want to ask a question because
Hmm.
before he went in prison, he converted to Islam, yeah, and he became
Mhm.
an imam.
Yeah.
Why Farrakhan never bring 1 million black men to march from the prison?
Well, this is it. Look, the
Tell
Farrakhan's
me
and
that
all
is
those
that's
guys.
what I call exerting our power. Like Malcolm X did when they arrested somebody in the prison that time. They all heap of them marched down to the prison and they're like, we want to see him. We want to make sure he's okay. And we're going to be at the court. We're going to make sure justice is done. Why they never marched? Why you think,
You see,
beloved?
the women would be more likely to march in that situation because the men are afraid, logically so, they're going to be killed. And people are going to let them be killed and they're going to march and say this, but they can't stop the system that would still kill them and take them out. Everyone's thinking, you know how everyone wants you to run and fight, and they'll stay at home and want to hear the story when you come back. And when you get killed, they say, oh, there was a nice person. Let's do some tributes to him. But you, the one that went out there and got killed, only your family's going to miss you after a couple of weeks. The rest, they'll just tell nice stories about you. And that's where we are. The organization, not to say the organization isn't there and the men are trying, but they can't capture the imaginations of everyone there. And the young people, again, they don't have the history. They don't know the stories. Education has deliberately undereducated them. So when you speak of certain people, they're going to be like, oh, who is that? I'm sure he was a nice man, but they're not going to have any history of that struggle. Look at Marcus Garvey. How many of the youngsters know of Marcus Garvey? And even of Malcolm X, they probably know the movie more than they know anything else. Yeah, they don't know who he is and what he stood for. So,
For real. Okay, I'm going to
yeah.
park that now, but just to leave you all with the name, it's Jamil Al-Amin. He spent 23 years in prison. I've got it now. Please read his story. Um, he was falsely charged, and even though the culprit who did actually commit the murder confessed, yeah, and confessed under oath, they refused to retrial and free Jamil because they were so afraid of this powerful black man. And that's what we're talking about. When our men are powerful, the system knows how to crush them. And so this is one of the reasons why a lot of our men don't want to stand up, and be that powerful voice, because as our brother Edison said, the system will crush them or kill them. And then the rest of us on the plantation would be like, oh, he was a nice man. But if everybody stood up, we can hold the system by its short and curlies and deal with it. Okay, let's park that there now. I was asking Brother Jammers if